Right, ladies and gentlemen, moving swiftly on with the order of proceedings today. It's a great pleasure to be hosting the next session on the mining sector in Zambia, and we're truly honoured to be joined by the Honourable Minister of Mines of Zambia, who's very kindly offered his time today to be with us and to update us about the Zambian mining sector. Our moderator for this session is Mr. Hopewell Mauer from EY, who looks after all transaction advisory work at EY and is a specialist in African mining. He knows a lot more about Zambia than I do, so I'll be very kindly introduce him for us to make good use of the hour that we have on offer today. Hopewell, over to you. Please do start the session and introduce our distinguished panel today.
Thank you, Hussein. I'm not sure if my knowledge is up to date on Zambia as the minister, of course. But welcome to the Zambia mining session for the Arab Africa Conference. My name is Hopewell Mauer. I'm a strategy and finance expert, and my focus is Africa and the emerging markets. So we are joined here by Honorable Richard Musuqua, the Minister of Mines and Mineral Development of the Republic of Zambia. Honorable Musuqua has vast experience in the mining sector and has served as an MP since 2011, including as the government chief whip. He's been the Minister of Mines since 2018. Also on the panel is Professor Dimitar Ivanov. Professor Ivanov is an accomplished economist and has advised several governments. He served as the economic advisor to the President of Bulgaria. And finally, we have Daniel. Daniel Major is the Chief Executive of GovEx, a Canadian-listed junior exploration company with interests across Africa. Gentlemen, welcome to the panel. We are expecting this will take us about an hour. So without much further ado, let's get straight into the proceedings. We shall start with an update on the recent developments in the mining sector in Zambia, in light of also of the COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable Minister, if you can walk us through the recent regulatory and policy changes and all the developments in the mining sector which are of interest to the investor community. In short, Honorable Minister, why should investors come to Zambia?
Thank you. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm very delighted this afternoon to be part of the Arab Africa Conference via this virtual process that you put in place. We are very grateful. At least you can get the Zambian voice even through this system. I want to sincerely thank the organizers of this conference and for inviting Zambia to be part of this great occasion. I have with me my Director of Mines, on my left here, Mr. Kateka, and also my Director of Mine Cadastre on my right, Michael Chibonga. Of course, I have my Director Planning and my Senior Mining Engineers with me joining the conference. Basically, Zambia, for those of you who have not been to Zambia, Zambia is a landlocked country located in southern part of the continent, neighboring with 8 countries, and we cover a total square kilometer in excess of over 752,614. The investment environment in Zambia is generally characterized by a stable macroeconomic situation with predictable laws and policies, among others. Zambia is a peaceful country with a stable social. Are you getting me? Fantastic. Zambia is a peaceful country with a stable social and political system. We have changed political leadership through peaceful transition since independence in 1964. In short, we believe in the electoral process in changing governments. Zambia is the second largest copper producer on the African continent, with about 10 mining already producing in excess of over 806,000 metric tons of copper per annum. Principally, we are a copper nation, and we are working around to diversify to other minerals, which I will later on in a few minutes speak to. Our general overview of the mining sector is that mining is Zambia's main scale of our economy. It accounts for 85% of foreign direct investment, 60% of foreign exchange earnings, 23% of government revenue, and 12% of GDP. That's our prowess in terms of the mining, in terms of the Zambian economy. Zambia is endowed with a variety of minerals, resources, which include base metals, with copper, as I have indicated, being the main mineral commodity mined in Zambia, and other base metals, which include cobalt, nickel, manganese, just to mention but a few. We also have industrial minerals. These include limestone, phosphate, graphite, gypsum, talc, and many more. Gemstone. We have gemstone, which include emeralds, aquamarine, tourmaline, garnet, citric, among others. Zambia accounts for 20% of the world's emerald production. In fact, the biggest producer of emeralds in the world is in Zambia, done and exploited by a company called Kajam Mines Limited, owned by Gemfields of UK in partnership with the government. Energy minerals also include coal, uranium. Deposits also exist in several parts of our country, mainly in northwestern and southern part of the country, that remain unexploited. Precious metals. Zambia is also home for gold deposits that have remained unexploited for a long time, and we are now working around these parameters. And of course, the exploration of oil and gas is underway, and steady progress has been made with the several tenements that we have. Policy and the regulatory framework. Very quickly, I would like to speak to the policy and regulatory framework. The mining sector is governed by the Mines Resource and Development Policy of 2013. The focus has been on the exploration of industrial minerals, precious metals, and other base metals other than copper to promote diversification within the sector. Government is actively pursuing the diversification agenda to reduce the dependence of the economy on copper and the mining industry. In short, would like to exploit other resources apart from mining, invest in agriculture, construction, and tourism. On a large scale, government is looking actively in gold, which has since been identified as a strategic mineral that can drive the diversification agenda. In this regard, government has developed a gold mining strategy to guide the exploitation of gold in Zambia. In terms of the legal framework, the principal registration governing the mining industry is the Mines and Minerals Development Act of number 11 of 2015. It aims at ensuring application of modern principles of transparency and accountability in the management of mineral resources. The acts provide for flexible mineral royalty, taking into account the mineral type and copper price fluctuation at the point. Participation of mining companies in the development of the local community is a key factor. And thirdly, the avoidance of wasteful mining or metallurgical processes or practices, and involvement of mining companies in the promotion of local business development. In terms of licensing, we have computerized the mining rights cadastre system, which is based on the first come, first served principle, and eliminates the discretion in dealing with mining rights application, while at the same time ensuring transparency is key in the issuance of mining rights. The mining cadastre portal is fully accessible to the public on an online basis, and everyone, both local and foreign investors, are able to access this portal. Government is further working on improving this system by developing an online mining rights application which will take into account issues also to do with payment of area charges and other related costs. Government has also developed an online mineral production system, MOSES, which is a mineral output statistical evaluation system, which also allows for online export permit applications to be done. The ministry monitors mineral value chain from production to export. Let me now quickly go to the update on the changes in the mining sector in light of COVID-19 pandemic. Just like many other mining jurisdictions and countries across, Zambia has not been spared with the COVID-19 impacts. And in the process, government, working together with mining houses, has devised methods of ensuring sustainability and survival during this critical time. Government had to move in and ensure that certain provisions in terms of taxes were relaxed in order to ensure that you provided sustainability to the mining industry. Mining companies implemented their own measures based on how they were affected by the pandemic. For instance, some mining firms imposed their own lockdown. This was meant to prevent the spread of COVID. Some mining companies only left critical operations to run, while others, the majority of them, were working while adhering to the strict COVID rules. In short, we have learned to abide by the principles of health guideline on COVID while ensuring that we embarked on a new normal to run and operate the mining industry without endangering the workforce, the community, and the people where these operations take place. Our policy and regulation changes, which the investors would be of great interest to know, is that in the mining sector, government has completely scrapped the import duty on concentrates in order to encourage optimal use of processing plants, mining industry infrastructure, and diversification. Policy towards reliance on copper prone to global shocks. The mining sector is governed by the Mines and Mineral Resource Development Policy of 2013, as I have already alluded to. The focus has been on the exploitation of industrial minerals, precious metals, and other base metals other than copper to promote diversification with the sector. Government is actively pursuing the diversification agenda to reduce dependence of the economy on copper and on the mining sector at large. Gold has been identified as a strategic mineral that can drive the diversification agenda. In this regard, government has developed a gold mining strategy to guide the exploitation of gold in Zambia. And I want to take this time and opportunity to invite investors across the world to partner with the Zambian local people in exploiting gold, which is in abundance in our country, and the anomaly for gold across the Republic of Zambia speaks for itself. What we require in this field is a big brother concept, who are able to work with our local Zambian partners by bringing equipment, finance, and logistics to exploit these resources. The state of the mining industry support services. Government has a rigorous policy towards business operating in the country. To some extent, this has disadvantaged the local enterprises that give support services to the mining industry. The mines tend to procure services outside Zambia, including South African economy. In this regard, the Zambian government is in the process of making laws that will encourage mining companies to engage more of the local contractors and suppliers. However, there is no shortage of service provision. In short, what the Zambian government would like to see is many multinational companies partner with local Zambians and give local contractors and suppliers business in terms of mine support as a way of encouraging local participation in the mining industry. Policy towards value addition and beneficiation. Government encourages value addition and mineral beneficiation. Tailor-made incentives and agreements are put in place to encourage value addition and beneficiation. In short, government would like to see many of the multinational companies exploiting the resource in Zambia to add value to the product instead of exporting raw materials. Well, let me quickly now give an update on taxation and loyalty policies. Government of the Republic of Zambia has maintained the sliding scale for copper, which allows for high loyalty rates to be paid when copper prices go up and low rates when the copper prices drop. You will be interested to know that the sliding scale is an act that came up with is an action that came up with the involvement of local mining entities, including the Chamber of Mines, as a proposal in the beginning. So we are basically implementing a process that came from consultation with the stakeholders, and government remains open to ensure that where we need to improve in terms of our processes, we are very ready to see how best we can create a win-win platform for the investor and the local people and the government of the Republic of Zambia. So the sliding scale starts from 4% when the price is below US 4,500 per metric ton. Comment on the mining community's living standards. Corporate social responsibilities being undertaken by a number of large-scale companies. However, government would like to see better living standards for the people living in the mining community and beyond. And we think very strongly that CSR is a matter that must be able to resonate in the community where these mineral resources are endowed. And we think that the poverty levels and squalor that our people are associated with in the abundance of mineralization is a matter which we must strike a balance. So we call on investors to be responsive and ensure that they support the local host communities where mining takes place. That one we say it boldly without any sense of reservation, because we think that the minerals must benefit the host communities where they are host, and while making profits, multinational companies must ensure that they upgrade the living standards of our people. I will be concluding now. Policy towards mining issues. Government has no policy. Must listen to that very critically. The government of the Republic of Zambia will continue to run and operate the mining industry based on private-driven initiative, in short, investor-driven initiative across the world. And Zambia, the Zambian government has no plan to nationalize any mining entity. Our policy is to ensure that we cooperate with any foreign entity as partners. Government has no policy to nationalize the mining company. And I make reference to Glencore. Glencore threatened to place its mining operation on care and maintenance. And this would have meant in excess of over 17,000 workers to lose employment. And in the process, the government through ZCCMIH, a minority share in Mopane, is negotiating to buy the Glencore shares in order to continue production and save jobs. And we are glad to indicate that we have a very warm working relationship with Glencore, and we have their support. They have graciously been involved in negotiation with our team to see how best this can be done in an environmentally accepted manner in order to ensure that over 17,000 workers and the economies of Kitwe and Mufrila and largely Zambia does not come to a standstill.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. I think that was a very comprehensive update from you. You pretty much covered all the areas that of interest. If I could take you to task in terms of policy towards multinational companies, do you think, in your view, that the multinational companies, in terms of mining, are paying a fair share of taxes? And what has driven the changes that you have implemented in terms of the taxation and royalty policies?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to state that even at a personal level, even you yourself at a personal level, anytime we talk about taxation, no one is happy about paying tax. So basically, what the government of Zambia has done in terms of taxes is to ensure that we create a balance between the investor and the needs of the people of Zambia. And we continue to dialogue to ensure that we apply best practices that are commensurate worldwide in terms of the mining tax fiscal regime. So basically, our core is to discuss, and what we have seen is that not every size fits all. We think that there are mining houses that bring in huge investment, and we are able to discuss in terms of worthwhile. And you can see that in response to the request from mining houses, the government of the Republic of Zambia has dropped the import duty on concentrates and many incentives in order to ensure that we attract the investors in Zambia. You can clearly see that Zambia is an investment destination and a jurisdiction which must invite all the attendants of this meeting to come and invest.
Sure. And if we could talk in terms of competitiveness of the Zambian mining sector, one thing of interest, obviously, to investors is to see infrastructure projects in terms of access to electricity, access to roads, more capacity, especially in the rail system. What is the government's policy in making sure that these sort of costs, which inevitably are levied on miners, if you don't have any rail system, it becomes the responsibility of the mining company to come and invest in that. What is the Zambian government's policy in terms of making sure that you have investment which is sunk in terms of essential infrastructure?
Thank you very much. The PF government, when we took over in 2011, embarked on a robust infrastructure development in road network in excess of over 8,000 kilometers. Link Zambia 8,000. This is a project that is meant to galvanize a network across the country in order to ensure that there is smooth transition of commodities. And this project has been going on, and strategically in all mining areas has been covered. We are also working on the connectivity in terms of the rail, so that huge and bulk equipment, including mining materials, concentrates, and so on, are put on rail to avoid damage to the road infrastructure. We have also invested in energy in order to ensure that the cost of doing business is reduced. We are hoping that come first quarter of 2021, most of these projects will be ramping up, and we expect the mining houses to benefit.
Thank you. Thank you, Minister. Professor Ivanov, you have had all these comments from the minister. From your perspective, what does Zambia has to do in terms of increasing competitiveness and continuing to attract FDI? What can you tell the minister which is of benefit in terms of this area?
Yes. First of all, let me thank you very much for your very kind invitation to join this prestigious panel and to share my view on the Zambian economy with His Excellency, the Minister of Mines, and with so many respectable experts. I don't have the privilege to have the detailed knowledge of Zambia like the Minister and his colleagues have, or Daniel has. But let me share my view based on my macroeconomic views on Zambia and the whole region. We are living in extremely difficult, turbulent economic, social, medical times, extremely difficult. In fact, when Africa was facing a new era of dynamism, of renaissance, the COVID crisis happened. And this created additional difficulties to all countries, including Zambia, which wanted to go to a new road of renaissance of its economy. When you ask me for the competitiveness of the Zambian economy and what it is necessary, let me tell you that today the criteria of competitiveness is a very complex term. Okay, it is linked not only to the economy, but it is linked, according to the Global Competitiveness Index, to 12 tiers of the state, like the state of the institutions, infrastructure, ICT adoption, microeconomic stability, health, skills, productivity, labor market, financial system, market size, business dynamism, and innovation capability. So the Global Competitiveness Index, based on these 12 pillars, is measuring that for the last 3 years. Unfortunately, I have to share these facts with the panel. For the last 3 years, Zambia is ranked at number 120 in the world in terms of the competitiveness index of its economy and the state. Just for comparison, Zambia, comparing to the African country, is at the 17th place. As a comparison, South Africa is number 60. Kenya is number 95. Rwanda is number 100. Ghana is 111. So the ranking is not so good ranking, competitiveness ranking of the Zambian economy reflects the difficult economic times, financial times, and social times which Zambia is having for the last 3-4 years. What needs to be done? Because you asked me directly, I think Zambia needs to improve the fundamentals, the macroeconomic fundamentals, the investment climate, and the minister was absolutely right to emphasize the importance of the tax issues, the transparency in the administrative decisions. Zambia needs to advertise especially the more competitive sector in the economy, in fact, the sector for which the minister is in charge. And Zambia needs to create a more free and dynamic entrepreneurial sector based on participation of private equity firms, foreign investors, and developing the local investment environment as well.
Still on that, Dr. Ivanov, maybe I may prompt the minister also on capacitating to make sure that, because it's said that investors always come to areas where locals are also invested. So, Minister, if you could enlighten us in terms of the steps that Zambia is taking in terms of making sure that the local Zambians are also invested into mining and into all sectors of the economy. And in terms of mining, not just artisanal mining, we know there is a lot of artisanal mining across Zambia and in Africa in general, but it will be good to also see Zambians also playing a bigger part in terms of large-scale mining as well. So what is the government's policy in terms of that field? Because like I said, and like the Professor Ivanov is saying, we need to see more Zambians invested into their own economy so that the foreigners can also have a takeoff. in terms of participating?
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, Zambians can never just be good enough for small-scale mining or artisanal. The government of the Republic of Zambia is building and opening up the mining industry to Zambians to own not just small-scale mining, but large-scale mining, because it is only Zambians that can provide a transformational agenda. And the Zambians, I must say, have risen up to ensure that we can be counted and start operations of their own, and also to run operations which have been for the government of the Republic of Zambia for a long time. So watch out the space for Zambians to participate in the large-scale mining operations by themselves. But also, just to re-emphasize what Professor has said, the index in terms of the ratings, in terms of the way of doing business, rated by globally reputable institutions, rates Zambia as a conducive and competitiveness of Zambia at the best destination in terms of investment. And this is coming from the World Bank. For instance, the World Bank 2020 Ease of Doing Business puts Zambia as one of the best 10 African countries. This is in the World Bank report, not a Zambian report, World Bank report, and ranks Zambia as 7th in Africa. For avoidance of doubt, that's a World Bank report, and goes further to rank Zambia as the 5th in Sub-Sahara. What has the Zambian government done? Our role is to ensure that we run and manage a mining fiscal regime which is simple, predictable, and anchored on the rule of law, in order to ensure that we attract investment and also deliberately promote Zambian participation in terms of the mining industry. That is our trajectory. In terms of eligibility for owning a mine by foreigners, a foreigner can own a company or a large exploration license either by themselves completely or in partnership with the local Zambian people. We are working to ensure that we put together all the facets which encourages investment, such as roads, energy, and the associated requisites of encouraging competitiveness across with our African peers. We have the resource that is rich, and in fact, we have explored to an extent of only 60%. We still have a huge tract of land that needs to be explored, and we are inviting partners in the exploration arena so as to define more other minerals that can be exploited. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. Then on the point of macroeconomic stability, Professor Ivanov, I think one of the elephants in the room is, in terms of Zambia, is the debt issue, which, well, you could argue all countries are facing that in light of the COVID-19 situation as well. But from your view, and in your view, Professor Ivanov, what is the best way for Zambia in terms of addressing and restructuring debt? Because strong macroeconomic performance translates into a good environment for mining.
First of all, let me to respond to the minister for his very important remark. I know this report of the World Bank. I know for this high level of ranking of Zambia in the report of doing business in Zambia. But again, foreign investors, when they are looking to go to a certain country, and the globalization put in fact on the table 200 countries. You have a choice of 200 countries. So their choice should be based on, first of all, perfect investment climate, very good local partners, because this is a problem for going to a foreign country, for strategic entry into a foreign country. You need to have good local partners. Lack of red tape, stable macroeconomic regime, tax regime, fiscal regime, monetary regime, and political regime, of course. So all these things, as I said, concentrated in the 12 pillars of the Global Competitiveness Index, they need to be analyzed and to see where exactly and how Zambia could improve.
Okay.
But, going back to your main question, I am following very closely the efforts of the government of His Excellency Mr. Edgar Lungu, efforts of the Zambian Minister of Finance, Dr. Bala Ngandu, in addressing the economic reforms in the country, and especially the heavy situation with Zambia foreign debt. Let me tell you the following preliminary conclusion, based again and unfortunately on facts. Today, Zambia has a foreign debt of around 11.7 billion US dollars, plus a public debt which in total makes more than 20 billion US dollars. What means this figure? This figure we need to compare with the Zambian GDP, which for this year will be around 19.7 billion. And next year, according to the forecast of the Minister of Finance, would reach 24.7 billion US dollars. Zambia today is one of the most indebted countries, not only in Africa, but in the world, together with Argentina and Lebanon.
Professor Ivanov, I'm just conscious, obviously, of time, given that there will be another session. I think we can take that debate, perhaps with the inclusion of the Minister of Finance as well, because that's into his territory. That's a very interesting point. What I want to do now is to
I just wanted to conclude with just one important conclusion. Zambia is doing great efforts to address the debt problem and the optimization of the debt liability. The Ministry of Finance mandated Investment Bank Laissez-faire in April to advise the government on reducing the foreign debt. But this situation is not easy at all, and this process could be longer than 2-3 years. So because His Excellency here is in the panel, and with a great respect to him, I would like to address to him as a member of the government. My advice is that following just a technical, small haircut of Zambia foreign debt, it will be not enough. Zambia needs to address, first of all, to have construct a radical macroeconomic reform and social reform. This reform needs to be accepted by the international financial institutions like the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, etc., in order for the Zambian government to sit at the table and to negotiate on the position of having an advanced program, a serious reduction and haircut of its debt. Okay. I am very brief at this stage. I could continue if you have questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Ivanov. I think we just want to hear from Daniel. Daniel is obviously...
Before we hear from Daniel,
yes,
I need to respond to what the professor said.
Yes, sure.
I speak for the government of the Republic of Zambia. I know that the finance minister is not around. We would have loved him to be around and he could have responded specifically to some of those issues. The money that the government of the Republic of Zambia borrowed was not for consumption. It's money that was invested in infrastructure. The world over, there are no governments, including individuals, who run and manage the economy without getting money from banks and multilateral institutions. What the government of Zambia has done is to get resources to invest in infrastructure development such as roads, health, and education. And we hope that we are within limit in terms of ensuring that we liquidate our indebtedness through our grid systems with various multilateral institutions. I can assure you that we are committed to ensuring that we run and operate a government that is transparent, that is run and operated on best principles and tenets of democracy. And we don't live in an island, we live in a global space, and that's why we have discussions with IMF and other multilateral institutions to ensure that our economy is supported. I can assure you that we are working around the clock to ensure that we meet our obligations as a government.
Thank you, Minister. I think just to add for Professor Ivanov's benefit as well, I think Zambia is pretty much respected in terms of political stability and upholding the rule of law. So I think that is one of the key contributors of it being amongst, within Africa, one of the key countries where competitiveness is increasing. Let's hear from Daniel. Daniel is invested in Zambia in uranium. So it'll be good to hear from an actual investor's perspective, the opportunities, but also challenges in terms of doing business in Zambia. Daniel, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your comments earlier. GoviX is an investor in Zambia. We're actually a uranium development company. We've got projects in Niger, in Zambia, and Mali. We only invest in Africa. Our view is that Africa is a place you can get things done. Governments tend to be pretty pragmatic. We are looking at governments that predominantly are reliant on commodities as a primary source of revenue generation. And a lot of these governments are trying to change that position. And there's a lot of strategies being talked about over this conference about sustainability and the ability to take what is the wealth of those economies and those commodities and converting it into a longer lasting development going forward. But Africa comes with challenges as well, and power is one of those challenges that continues to plague Africa. And that's really why we're kind of in Africa, because we're an energy play. We're there for the uranium assets that are within the country. We've been in Zambia for a while. We have 3 fully permitted projects sitting in there. We came into Africa because we liked Africa, and particularly Zambia. All of the countries you see are mentioned are all mining jurisdictions. They bring with them the mining skills. In Niger, obviously, it's had uranium mining since 1971. In Zambia, it's had, mining at the end of the day is mining. It doesn't matter what you're digging out of the ground, it is mining. You're just digging different things out. And so Zambia brings with us, the skill sets at a local level. I only have Zambians working in Zambia. I only have Nigerians working in Niger, and I only have Malians working in Mali. We commit totally to local side. And this is something you've seen around the world changing already. And you've seen this at the university level. International universities in Western nations are closing down because people are focused on local commitment, local content coming through. And even my own university at Cameron School of Mines is in that position, the only one left in the UK now. When I went to university, there were 6. The benefits we have as well of local skills is the infrastructure. We benefit from a brand new road that was built about 4 or 5 years ago, right past our property down in Chivonga. So, a fantastic new road. The other benefit we get as a point of geography as well is that Zambia is actually permitted as an IEA country for the transportation of uranium. As a result of the development of the project in Malawi, the access route to get uranium out of there was out of Walvis Bay. So uranium development can go forward in Zambia as a result of that IEA. And that's just why we've committed. We struggled as a project, and nothing to do with Zambia. It's very much to do with the uranium market. We applied and received our mining permits. The uranium market, unfortunately, with Fukushima, took an absolute beating. Went from $70 a pound all the way down to $16 a pound. But as a company, we committed to substantial drilling to try and expand our resources and improve the project. We made major steps by acquiring a project next door, Chirundu, to add to our existing projects. Despite all of these benefits, the uranium price fell even further than we predicted, to an all-time low. But we're starting to see the change of that, and I think that's one comment I heard from the minister earlier, which is, not one size fits all. And that while the mining code demands development to go forward, it is very difficult to build a mine when the underlying market for your product is below your cost of production. But that doesn't mean companies like us sit on our hands and do nothing. We've spent $48 million in this period of time. So that's another issue that I think I heard earlier about Zambianization. Mining takes capital, and that access to capital has to be made available to all people to be able to do it. And don't expect that, local people want to suddenly invest that risk capital, because as you see, we spent $48 million in the last 12 years and we've got nothing to show for it yet. But we see
Dan,
the development of the uranium.
On that point, Dan, I would like to hear from the minister, actually, in terms of uranium. We've been talking about Zambia trying to build its capacity in terms of power, right? How important is uranium in terms of Zambia's strategic power needs? Because I certainly see, some sort of synergy between Goviek's project and Zambia's power and diversification needs in terms of mining.
Thank you. I'll ask my director, Michael, to make a quick comment before I conclude.
Yes, thank you, Popo. I think what the government of the Republic of Zambia has done, especially considering that the energy demands are on the rise, is basically it has been trying to move away from hydropower, the dependency on hydropower energy, and to have a sort of a mix, an energy mix. And in the process, we have projects such as the Mamba Collieries project, which is a thermal power project. And we actually, under the Radiation Protection Authority, we are also looking at the possibilities of basically constructing a nuclear power station. Of course, not in the short term, but definitely in the longer term. As you know, setting up a power plant, a nuclear power plant, requires a lot of technical capacity and also financial capacity. So basically, the way forward for the Republic of Zambia is to have an energy mix, and not really to just depend on one source of energy. As you also are aware of the climatic conditions we are undergoing worldwide, you will find that hydropower is no longer that reliable because of the adverse climatic conditions we keep on facing from time to time. So basically, going forward, I see nuclear energy as a solution, a very important solution for governments like Zambia.
Sure. Thank you. Daniel, let's hear from the Minister.
Okay.
Minister, any comments or?
No, just to thank Daniel for, first of all, choosing to invest in Zambia. And they've been working rapidly, including acquisition of new tenements in order to upgrade their mining license. And like he has indicated, uranium has its own challenges, not unique to Zambia, but globally in terms of approvals. So as government, we are keen to ensure that we adapt an energy mix, because for a long time we have been relying on solar, on the hydro, and now we have moved to ensure that we get all the energy mix, thermal, solar, and so on, in order to ensure that we support development. And so nuclear is an exploitation that we are keen to ensure comes online. And Daniel, you have support to ensure that you succeed.
Okay. Thank you, Minister. I think we are now a bit.
Can I just make a comment there?
Pressed on the time, so we are going to have just closing remarks. First of all, from Professor Ivanov, then we move from Daniel.
No, Hopewell,
we have final words from
Daniel has a comment that he wanted to make on the back of the minister's.
All right, okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment on the nuclear side, because Zambia has already made its commitments to there. It's actually working very strongly with Rosatom. The country has already started a lot of the early stages of training and regulation change. And companies like ours are being brought into that to go through those various changes. I've seen comments out of Zambia recently on the development of the small modular reactors going forward around the world. And there's a lot of commitment coming there. So it's going through those step changes that are required to get the country ready for nuclear. As the minister indicated, it's not quick, but it's certainly making the right stages. And I think, nuclear will be part of where Africa development will have to go to get the energy that's required to make the development of Africa to go forward.
Sure. Professor Ivanov, final comments, if we just keep it to a minute, and yeah. You're on mute.
For me, the most important thing for the Zambian economy is a smooth return to international capital markets. There are two preconditions for this which are extremely important for the Zambian government to reach them. First of all, is restoring the debt sustainability and restoring macroeconomic resilience. This is happening in a very important and political sensitive sphere for the Zambian state, because Zambia is facing elections in 1 year. And also, the problem of addressing the debt sustainability cannot be solved with stopping the investments flow to the Zambian economy. Zambia needs two things which are quite controversial. To start to have a fine repaying of its debt problems, and in the same time, Zambia needs a fresh finance to jumpstart the economy. So this problem needs to be solved by the government as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Ivanov. I think what we may do, I think with the acceptance of the minister is, and through the embassy, we may organize a conversation for you to carry through with the minister. Daniel?
Yeah, I'll be brief. We obviously have been in Zambia for a while. We commit long-term to all the things that the government's talking regarding local skills, local procurement. We commit a lot to our CSR. We do a lot of work on health, education, and water. That's something a lot of mining companies do now. What we ask with the governments is communication. And one of my commitments always is that my own guys on the ground go to the ministry regularly. And I know they do that, and I record all their meetings. So communication, as the minister highlighted earlier, is key between the mining industry the mines ministry in the country. The one area we see as well, in particularly for us going forward, is the understanding by the people of radiation and uranium. But that's where the Zambian government's already working with us to try and train people to understand that. So mining is a long-term industry. It goes beyond many generations. In fact, I probably won't be around on some of our projects when they finish. But it is a key that it's not short-termism. It's long-term focus. The development of all.
Thank you, Daniel, and you're on point. Comrade Minister, if we can come to you for some closing remarks.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to sincerely thank the professor, the moderator, and Daniel for the contribution towards helping our country to move from our current state to another level. Because we think that development has no finishing line, and every day we are learning. I want to assure you that government is committed to ensuring that we provide a sustainable economic trajectory and ensure that our micro fundamentals echo to the demands of our economy and improvement, and restoring our position in terms of ensuring our economy rebounds and begin to create new hopes, not just to the Zambians, but also to the international platform. Our thrust is to ensure that as a government, we continue to provide an enabling environment in terms of investment for the mining sector. Zambia is a stable investment destination, offering vast investment opportunities ranging from exploration to value addition. Zambia is centrally located with 8 neighbors to exchange views and ideas. I want to assure you that even as we go for elections, we are determined to ensure that we run and manage an economy based on sound principles of economic trade. And I can assure you that we are committed to ensuring that we date our indebtedness in terms of the agreements that we have made with several multinational companies. And we are open to continue dialoguing through our embassy with stakeholders, partners, and thank you for the contribution that you have made. Zambia is definitely a choice for everyone to come and invest. Welcome to Zambia.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you for the insights. It's been a pleasure hearing directly from you all the developments in the Zambian mining sector. And thank you to the panelists, Daniel and Professor Ivanov. Thank you very much for your contributions. Hussein.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Not much left to say, but once again, our sincere thanks to the Honourable Minister and all the Ministry of Mines for participating in the conference this year. We can only hope to welcome you all to London next year. Let's see what the environment is going to be like, but at least we can maintain dialogue and interaction in this manner, which we hope is still useful for everyone. Thank you especially to Dan and to all the team at GovEx for supporting the event this year, and to Ms. Dr. Ivanov and Hopewell. You have fantastic moderation skills, so I think we'll have to use you again another time. So all the best to everyone here, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.